Hello and welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast deck, a mother, and a wife. And I'm here to help you see yourself as the best version of who you are in 2021 and going forward. So I like to start off with asking, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you being? Those three major questions: feeling, doing, and being. So remember to share, like, and comment, because in order to take advantage of the raffle giveaway, you have to do all three. One is not enough. All three need to be done. And sadly to say, no one did that last week. But anyway, we'll get into that later. If you haven't had a chance to check out previous episodes, know that you can watch us on Roku and YouTube. And go do a marathon for that matter. Because last week's show, which was an amazing show with Todd Bradbury, the title was Creating, and the topic was amazing. Because the real question and something to bring to your attention, food for thought, so to speak, is what is it you're creating? What are you creating? Because you are the creator, you are the author, you are the writer, you are the publisher, you are the main character in your story. And you get to decide if you want to continue having the other characters in your story, or if you want to dismiss them and start a new story. You get to do that. So if you did not get a chance to watch last week's episode, please do go back and watch it, because it was a great, great show. And Todd had shared some amazing insight and some tips on how to redirect your focus so you can create your best life ever, because you can, because you are the creator. And we're always saying we want the best life. We're always saying we want something better. But question is, are you willing to really shift something so you can have something better? So with that being said, also want to give a shout out to all of my advertising sponsors that make week after week after week take place. We're going to start off with CJ Ives Lopez. She is the host of the Author's Porch, and also the publisher of the Author's Porch magazine. We'll talk more about that later. Then we have Kendrick Greer. He is our astrologer. And if you've never had an astrology report done, or forecast, or whatever you might want to call it, I highly recommend that you reach out to him to get one done, so you can find out what is actually going on, or what is in store for you as we do move into this energy of September. Then we also have Todd Bradbury, which we just spoke on. He's the founder of the Mystic Warrior Academy. He has been on my show in the month of August 4 times, and we've shared some amazing, amazing insight. And he's going to be back on again in, I believe, October, talking about some other amazing things that he's doing. He's got amazing, amazing courses that he offers as well, which is one of the reasons why I had him on the show so frequently, because of the courses he offers. So go check him out. And then we also have Lisa, I always say her name wrong, Parenzo, I think I said it right, maybe not, who knows. She's the CEO and founder of A Healthful Life. Now, she is definitely, if I would say anything, she's like the twin of my occupation, because she and I are so much on the same page regarding health, fitness, and wellness. And she was on my show about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we talked about cardio versus weight training. She'll be back on my show at the end of this month as well, and we're actually going to be talking about nutrition. So stay tuned for that. And then last but not least, Nick Raster. He's the editor, writer, journalist, and real estate agent. So if you are looking to write an article, or you want to write a book, or you want to find a new home or an apartment, especially with all the weather that's been going on, or the rain, he's your go-to. He's also my guest for today, which I'll get into that in a few minutes. So those are the advertising sponsors that makes this show happen week after week after week. Now, if you're interested in becoming an advertising sponsor on the show, I would love to hear from you. all you need to do is send me an email at healingwithin76@gmail.com and let me know what it is that you do, what's your service, what's your purpose, and what is it you would like to promote as an advertising sponsor. And what that would include is just a commercial. And if you really want to take it one step further, maybe even being a guest on my show as well. And that includes a whole variety of other things, which I will share with you when you email. Again, that email is healingwithin76@gmail.com. Now, let's get on into some fun and some business. When we think about fun and business, hopefully you caught my radio show this past Wednesday. The first Wednesday every month, Joanne's Cosmic Energy radio show takes place. And this past week, I spoke about the energy of September. Now, I don't know where you guys live, but I know for me, I'm here in Queens, in New York, the eastern side. And let me tell you, this weather we had, this hurricane, tornado, whatever the heck they were calling it, well, it definitely gives Virgo its name, where Virgo is really about scheduling, organizing, replanning. And that's exactly what I've been doing since that intense training that we've had, because unfortunately, my business was affected. And I've been cleaning, I've been vacuuming, I've been mopping, I've been, you name it, I've been doing it. So I'm asking, how are you doing where you are? Whether the weather is actually helping you to reorganize things because you have to throw stuff out that has gotten ruined, or if you are just doing it because energetically you're feeling the desire to get rid of stuff. When we think about the month of September, September holds the vibration of 9. And for that matter, I'd also like to invite you to go check out my article that's in the magazine Brains, BRAINZ. And the article is called Ascensions. I think the name says it all. And I speak about September's energy. In fact, I give you information about the personal year energy for each and every one of us. But when we think about September, September carries the 9 energy, which is really about decluttering, letting go, transitioning, completions, endings, putting a period at the end of that sentence, because it's really time to complete a project. It's really time to let go of things. It's time to transform. And that's the energy that September holds. Now, it doesn't really matter what your personal energy, your number is theoretically, because in the bigger picture of things, that 9 is powerful. That 9 energy carries the last 9 months of everything from January 2021 to current date. And I'm asking you, what is it that you need to do for the month of September so you can really start fresh, brand new, clean, with a clean slate as we begin to move into October. Now we are on the 5th day of September. And when we think about that 5 energy for today, that 5 energy is about the changes that you must be willing to do in order to have a different outcome. Not only do we have changes to 5, but we also have freedom. Freedom. How many of us want freedom in our lives? What does freedom look like? And where do you want freedom in your life? And then we also have a little bit of unpredictability. Now, unpredictability could be seen as a positive aspect or a low vibration, depending on how you look at it. I look at it as a positive thing, because anything that shows up unpredictably, where we're not planning it out, could actually be something that the universe is helping us with. So think of it in that way, so it can be a more positive aspect of things. And then when we think about that 5, it's also about the courage to change things. Because if you don't have courage to actually do something different, you're going to stay still. You're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay in the same position you are in prior to this month. So my big question to you is, what is it you want to change with this 5 energy day? Now, when we think about the overall day, the September, which is the 9th month, the 5, and then 2021, which is a 5 energy year, the collective energy, which is about the entire world being in a space of change. We are being forced to change. We're changing the way we view everything, from our own personal lives to the collective energy. And almost to the point where we don't have a choice. The universe is causing us to change things. And if you're going to try to hold on tight to something that really no longer fits your higher frequency, you're really going to have a challenging time with it. You're going to be kicking and screaming and punching and resisting everything. So my suggestion to you is to allow yourself to start tapping on that heart center, a little EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping on that energy to release whatever it is you are resisting emotionally and allow yourself to be in the space of surrendering. So with that being said, very quickly, I want to pull a card because then we're going to take a quick commercial break. Before we do, let's pull a card so we can see what chakra we want to work on today, what affirmation is going to help us raise our vibration, and what number is going to provide a hidden message. Let's see what's in store for us for today. All right, here is our card. I love it. I'm hoping you can see that. It says healing. Healing. And know that this 9 energy of completion, transforming, and decluttering, and this 5 of change is definitely going to help us heal. Anything that we do differently is going to help in the process of healing. Now, the chakra associated here is the high heart. The high heart is about being more compassionate towards yourself and to others as well. Your number is 6. That 6 is about the healing you are undergoing, the healer that you are, so you can shine light on those who might be having a challenging time during their process of healing, and recognizing the karmic lessons that you are learning as you go through this process of healing. So that's our card for today. How does that sit with each and every one of you? I would love for you to leave your comments below in the comment section, share the show, and like it as well. That gives you 3 opportunities to getting your name in the raffle giveaway and winning the raffle giveaway for today's show. So with all that being said, I'm going to take a quick commercial break and I'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Hey guys, welcome. We are back on the Author Sports. I am so excited to be here with my co-host Anastasia. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. It's so good to see you again. We don't get to see each other very often. We might have to get this every week, Tonight we are also talking with, we've got
You're on.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. And in about 30 seconds, I'll introduce my guest. But before we do, I always like to come back to the card for those who are just tuning in. Before we go into the card, remember, share, like, and comment so you get an opportunity to being in the raffle giveaway to possibly win the giveaway for today. So our card for today is all about healing. And we are all in the process of healing. We are all letting go of something so we can be more compassionate, as the chakra is, the high heart chakra. Be more compassionate towards ourselves and be more compassionate towards others, because we all are healing. And we have absolutely no idea what the other person is going through right now. So if we can be compassionate to everybody, that might actually help each person heal a little faster or at their own pace, rather than looking for them to heal faster. The number is 6. This number 6 in numerology is associated with healing, the healer, and all sorts of karmic lessons that we have to experience so we can heal. Because without those karmic lessons, we don't learn anything. And that's how we go through the process of healing. Does that make sense to you, Nick?
Yes.
I thought it would. I wanted to chime him into this as well because I think it fits really appropriate to our subject matter for today. So, as you all know, this is Nick Rafter. He's been on my show more times than I can count, but with good reason because he's got so much to share. And he's also a really, really great talker. I mean, I can have conversations with him all day long, and he and I do. Off air, him and I chat on the phone probably hours at a time, at least 2 or 3 times a week. Isn't that true, Nick?
That is true.
Yes.
There's a lot of sort of, I think, therapy between me and you going on about our lives and those conversations. And they've got us really through the last 18 months.
Exactly. And our title today is all about Summer of Changes. And I think it's really appropriate that Nick chose that title for today, Summer of Changes, because it really does fall into that 5 energy that we're in for today, the date, and also that 9 energy, because 9 is really about completions, decluttering out things, and also transforming. And I have to say, Nick, even though I can only see a section of your room, it looks like you've done some decluttering.
I'm in the process, yes, of actually cleaning. You can see on the chair back there is a bunch of stuff that I pulled off the floor onto the chair to find a place where they go. Because I haven't really been inside all summer. This is one of the first days that I've been working in my office. I've been working outside. And so, over time, if you don't really use a room, it starts to just kind of collect, dust and materials and stuff. And so now I'm sort of doing that like fall clean out, get ready for working indoors again, situation. And so, yeah, there's a lot of cluttering going on, a lot of new stuff that I actually didn't realize that I bought in the spring that just kind of sat in a bag all summer, for next fall, sweatpants or jackets or stuff like that. So yes. I'm finding a lot of like exciting things that I forgot about in the process.
Exactly. And before we dive into your reason for wanting to title the show Summer of Changes, I want to just tap into, just for a moment, your personal year energy number associated with numerology, which is a 4 for you. And just for our viewers, the number 4 in numerology means about a new foundation, also balance and stability, but having the patience to create the new foundation. So now for you, Nick, when you think about that 4 energy, how does that 4 play along with Summer of Changes?
Well, for me, it's been an interesting and wild summer of a lot of abrupt and unexpected changes in my life, professionally and personally. I got a bunch of new job offers. My business is sort of better than it has been, and so I've got a lot of new clients in that I didn't expect to get from unexpected places. And my personal life kind of took a little bit of a turn because my partner of 6 years decided pretty abruptly to move out of New York and move 750 miles away to the Midwest. And that wasn't really expected. That's also part of this decluttering too, is me going through stuff that I had in this apartment for 5 years. And then, going through it was going, oh, I remember this shirt, or I remember this board game, and bringing it back home and sort of finding a place for it here. And, and that's been a huge change in our relationship and how we cause really, I mean, one thing I said earlier today to a friend of mine was, because of the pandemic, I sort of limited my social contacts to a really small and intimate bubble where it was really my immediate family I lived with, him, you, and that was really it, because that was sort of, I didn't want to expand out of that out of safety, and also just because I wanted to do the right thing, I guess. And because of that, a lot of our social connections were shattered during the pandemic, where I didn't have the same relationship with my friends that I had before. I didn't have the same relationship with my my groups that I had before. My writing group didn't meet as much. My other organizations that I was involved with didn't meet as much. And so I kind of relied on the very few people that I saw. And so now that he had left, that's a part of the bubble that just burst.
Yes.
I won't see him every week now. I mean, I can call him on FaceTime and stuff, but previous to that, we've been spending every weekend together. So So that's been something that's changed as well. And I feel myself now having to go back to and start rebuilding those social connections that I had before the pandemic and building new ones. I mean, it's not so much I'm realizing as rebuilding as just building new connections and also reevaluating, whether I don't say I belong here, but whether there's new opportunities that I should be discovering that I'm not, because I got a little comfortable, in the small bubble that I've had the last 18 months.
Yes, which makes a lot of sense. Now, when you think about building your new foundation, besides for professionally, where you've mentioned that business is going really well, how does it also look on a personal level? Because I know you and I have spoken off camera, obviously, so I know the answer to the question, but I also want the viewers to really understand what you're experiencing and that 4 personal energy year number, how it really connects with each other. So can you share about that?
You mean other than Kyle moving? I think a lot of it is about, I've realized, has been me trying to figure out where my place is, I guess, in terms of like where I am and if I'm in the right place and if I'm doing the right thing. I mean, yeah, my business is booming, but does that mean that I have to take it to another level and maybe move it out of New York, or maybe, move it out of at least this office to something bigger? And so that's really where it's made me evaluate whether or not I have to change the scenery a little bit. Whereas previous to that, because I had sort of a limit in how much business I was doing, I couldn't really consider that. So I couldn't afford to change the scenery as much. And of course, the pandemic kept me close to home anyway. So now I'm starting to get the financial ability to consider whether a change in scenery or a change in location is warranted and is something that I should really start to think about. And so that's where I've been, on a personal level. Is it time to move either someplace new in New York or someplace new in the country, or the world, for that matter. I don't live it myself, and think about that. Think about now that I have this stream of income coming in, can I start to think about those things that I wouldn't have considered 2 years ago?
And excuse me. And I think, again, now we would never know the answer to this question about which is what I'm about to say. If you were in, let's say, a 3 energy year, would this same situation be going on? Again, we'd never know this. But the fact that you're in a 4 personal energy year, which strives on building a new foundation. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be literally like leaving your space that you're living in to move into a new location. But at the same token, when we really think about it, it could be. I mean, I know there are many, many people as clients of mine who carry the 4 energy number. And many of them, very similar to you, are in the process of relocating, whether it be they're relocating their home or they're changing jobs. And I think when we really think about these numbers and why I choose to share this information with your topic of summer of change, is for the viewers to understand that if they understood their numerology number, it would give them some insight to what's going on in their life. Like, I know for me, my personal energy number is 3, which is about the things I'm creating this year. And all the different projects, new ideas that I have coming up in my mind that I've actually put on paper, which theoretically Nick has been a huge part of because he is my editor. He edits a lot of the work that I've been doing and been working on, in reference that I'm literally in the midst of putting a dot at the end of the periods, at the end of the sentence rather, to many projects that I've been working on for the past 9 months. So when we think about numerology, how does it really fit in? Now, for our viewers out there, if you're interested to know what your personal energy year number is, all that I ask you to do is go ahead and calculate the month that you're born in, that number, the date that you were born on, and then the current year, which is 2021, and add those numbers up. And then go and check out my article in Brains Magazine, which is called Ascensions, and it will give you the breakdown of each year and see how that actually plays in what's going on in your life right now. So when we come back to Nick and we speak about the summer of changes. So here you have your partner of 6 years has abruptly, at least we think so, picked up and relocated. Your career is expanding, it sounds like, which is great. And you're also thinking about possibly moving as well. Now, if that's not a summer of change, I don't know what is. Yeah. Now, how do you feel about all of this, Nick? How do you feel about these changes?
I'm sort of like, I hate to use the term schizophrenic about this, but I have two minds about change. On one hand, I don't really like change. On the other hand, I consider myself a progressive, which is all about embracing change. And I thought about sort of the way I've sort of meditated about this. I thought about past times in my life where I've had to deal with change, right? And I guess that we haven't really discussed whether they were all 4 energy years, but I assume they all were. And I thought about the first time that I really felt like things were changing in a dramatic way in my life. And I was about 12 years old, 12 or 13 years old. And my grandmother's sister, who I was really close to, she was very ill with cancer, and she moved to Colorado to live with her son, so her son could take care of her. And it changed the way we did Christmas, because she was always she and my grandmother were sort of revolved around Christmas Eve dinner. They would cook it together, and they would fight with each other all the time, like sisters would. And the first Christmas Eve where she wasn't there, I was like, oh, this is different. And then I began to notice other little differences that happened. A neighbor moved. I was no longer coming from school at the same time. My mother started to work, so she wasn't home with me. And so a lot of these changes happened, and I thought, wow, everything that I got used to in the first 12 years of my life was suddenly changing. And I remember someone saying to me, and I don't remember who it was, that this is how it's going to be in life going forward. You've only been here for 11, 12 years. So that's a small amount of time. And now at my 38 years old, I can think back 12 years and think that's not a big amount of time, right? I mean, that's 12 years ago was 2009. That's not a lot. And a lot of changes have happened in that time frame. And so I begin to sort of think about that and think, okay, well, this is how I dealt with those changes, and how I sort of rode with those and came to be a new person. This is what I have to do this time. And I think it's really more, it's hard to adapt to new things. I'm having an especially hard time with Kyle leaving, because, everywhere in New York reminds me of him. And it's all these things that we used to do together that we're not going to be doing together because he's not here. But then it's also about the adventure of driving out to see him when I do. And, he said, he's told me a few times, why don't you come here and see it? Maybe you'd want to live here. And I had no desire to, but maybe in 6 months I do, Exactly. And so, it's about sort of embracing those changes, and then, going to, this is where he moved to is just outside of South Bend, Indiana, which is a place that I've never been to. I've never been there. I've driven through it, gone to Chicago once, but I've never actually spent time there. And, going there to spend some time there with him would be a new adventure to me, be a new place that I've been to. It's, otherwise I never would really have an opportunity to go there. And so, maybe that's something that will change. They'll go there and not like it. That'll be the end of that. But, this is stuff that I've learned over the years, I guess my past 4 energy years, on how to adapt and roll with change. And so that's sort of the plan. The other thing too is it's allowed me some freedom to be able to do things that I wasn't doing because of the pandemic, right? Because, I kept that bubble small. Now that the bubble bursts, it almost feels like a time to get back to normal type of situation. So, I'm going to do some traveling in the coming months. I'm going to go up to my family compound in Maine, spend some time there. I haven't been there in years. And, I'm going to actually go to Pennsylvania in the coming weeks to see if I can get my real estate license in Pennsylvania, so I can do some business in both New York and Pennsylvania, because there's a lot of cross business between states.
Yes. Sounds like a lot of new foundations that you are building. But before we go further on that, I want to bring two things up in this conversation. When we speak about that 4 energy year, your personal energy year, and we think back to last year's energy, which is 2020, it's not just the personal energy year of the individual, but it could also be the collective. Now, 2020 was a 4 energy year for the collective, and every one of us experienced major changes last year. I mean, due to the pandemic, we were all literally forced to shift, let go of things, and really rebuild a new foundation. And those of you who are in your actual personal energy of for this year, it's almost like you have a continuation of what you experienced last year, except now it's personal.
Yeah.
But where it wasn't a collective, it's now, what are you willing to do? What are you ready to do so you can build this new foundation that for an entire year last year, it was almost like literally under a different microscope, so to speak, where you had an opportunity to say, okay, what wasn't working last year, and now personally, how can you transition that so it, you know, in this 5 collective energy, you know, where you mentioned the word freedom. You know, now you have the freedom to do the things you're looking to do, which is the collective energy of this year.
Yeah.
You know, so when we think about that freedom of what we didn't have last year, and now we have it this year, that's helping you move into this new foundation, but being patient enough so you can build the new layers of what you're looking to build, such as what you're saying about wanting to go to Pennsylvania to possibly get your real estate license there. So you'll now have a wider range of business that you could do.
Right, and more options to where, you know, if I do decide to relocate, you know, going forward, where I can't do that, like I can go to Pennsylvania, you know, and I think that that's sort of like stuff that I should have considered beforehand, but never really did because there was a comfort level in the bubble that I created. And I've had the support and the encouragement of Kyle throughout that process in the last few days, even as he moves his life, you know, to the Midwest. You know, him saying, do this, you know, go and do this, go and write your book, your next book, you know. And I've actually had some like interesting, we haven't talked about this actually because we've talked about a lot of stuff this last week, but I've had some interesting like leads or hints or clues in terms of what my future holds. In that, one reason why I'm going to Pennsylvania is that I have a client from Philadelphia who's moving to New York. We're looking for options for them to move here. But they also have a lot of business connections in Philadelphia in terms of people who want to sell or buy or do whatever else. And so one of my clients asked me, hey, do you know anyone in Pennsylvania who can work real estate? And we can refer people out. But I thought to myself, if I want to have a steady stream of business, why not just have a license in Pennsylvania and work that as part of my business? And so that was one of the clues. I got an unsolicited email from a publishing company that wants to be part of an anthology, and we started talking about my novel, and so that was another clue. And so there's a lot of these little hints that are popping up that are really sort of like pushing me towards doing things that I really put on hold for less.
Exactly. And I think it's so amazing that you are open to hearing the clues, because I mean, again, just because someone says, well, you know, X, Y, and Z, but you were paying attention and you realize like, hey, wait a minute, this might be something that I'm supposed to be doing. So you were aware and you were very ready to take on that, you know, new possibility of like, this is a clue. And, you know, as you said before, up until now, it's like you put everything on pause. And even though, yes, it's very sad that your partner has decided to relocate, but in the bigger picture, it might be the very thing that you need. And he needs, for that matter, for the two of you to start moving forward again. Because sometimes, even though we might sit back and say, oh, the relationship is amazing, but sometimes we need that little bit of a shift and a little bit of disconnect to sort of put the new pieces in and get rid of the old pieces. And I'm not saying that, you know, the relationship is going to be discontinued. The relationship is actually going to be healthier and stronger because both of you are taking the time to really transition And both of you were giving each other the space and the respect and the trust. And I think that plays a huge role too. The trusting of knowing that the two of you are supporting each other while the two of you do, the term that comes up for me is why you do you. Why you do you. He's doing him, you're doing you. And it's given the two of you the opportunity to really transition to become a better version of yourselves.
Yeah, and we've talked about that too in the last few days that we were together here, was about how we almost became sort of a weird obligation to take days out of our schedule to spend with each other, because we felt like we had to. Because a part of it is because we were separated for 7 weeks during the start of the pandemic. And so it became one of those things where it's like, what if this is the last time we see each other for 6 months? We had that kind of like mentality. And so it was one of those things where it was like, well, Friday night I could be doing this, or this weekend I could be going here, but we have to spend the time together because we may not have an opportunity again for a while. And it became sort of, I don't want to call it a chore because it's just not fair to put it as that word, an obligation. But we felt like we needed to spend that time with each other. And so there was this sense of like, well, we both need some time to do our own thing, whatever that is, and not feel like, oh, we have to spend Friday night together. We have to do this date thing, because before the pandemic, we were able to do that because we never had this sense of like the world's going to collapse next week. We had this idea of like, okay, so we don't see each other for a month. That's fine. And then after a month, then we'll do whatever. And he wanted to go to Spain and do a cooking class, and he went to California with a friend, and I went up to the Caribbean on a cruise to do like a writing cruise. And so we did all these things, and then now, we kind of got scared into that, like we can't break this bubble mentality. And I think that this is a good experience for us to sort of go out and do the things that we've been backing up the last year and a half, and then see where it takes us. I mean, we both. I think I have a lot of faith in the idea that it will come back together again in the end. And he doesn't close the door on that. And so, the next 6 months will be interesting. And so that's sort of the way I'm dealing with all this change is, rolling with it. I have my emotional moments, I think, where I'm sort of like, have to have that little anxiety or those tears to sort of just let out like how I'm feeling. But you can't stop it. You can't really stop it. And I think people really drive themselves crazy and make themselves into really ugly versions of themselves, trying to stop it or trying to keep it from happening. And you really you have to sort of roll with it. You have to sort of adapt to it, and make the best of it. And the truth is, when you do, you will find the silver lining to all of this, and you will find what it was all for, in the end.
Exactly. And I think it's really amazing and also appropriate. I love when things just like fall into place when it comes to numerology and also astrology. When we think about astrology, and I'm going to actually bring this up before we take a commercial break, where Nick is experiencing this summer of change. And here we are, it's Sunday, September 5th. And on September 6th is our new moon energy in Virgo. And new moon energy is all about new opportunities, new possibilities, new ideas, new intentions. So here's Nick's opportunity, perhaps tonight into the next 3 days, to really think about everything he just shared with us here today and really start visualizing, meditating on where he would really like things to go. Because again, as I said earlier, based on last week's show, Nick is the creator to his story. He is the author, he's the publisher, he's the main character. And he gets to create what he wants to come out of this going forward based on his character. And I think it's just so perfectly aligned for September's energy, where it is about the decluttering, the transitioning, the completion, the putting an end to this particular chapter, which means when things start to unfold as he goes forward in the next chapters to come, it's a brand new chapter. So I think that's amazing. And Nick, let our viewers know how they can reach you with the information that's shared on that flyer, if you would.
Sure. You can reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com. That's one word, NICKRAFTER. Or you can go to my blog, nickrafterwrites.com, and all my contact info is there as well.
Excellent. Excellent. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to do two things. Nick's going to share a tip of what many of you might need help with in reference to adapting to this change. And two, I'm going to give Nick a reading if he's open to it. So we'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Natan Bradbury. I'm a veteran, Kabbalist, mystic, coach, and spiritual mentor. I have been blessed to help many students on their spiritual journey over the last 20 years. I am currently the founder of the Mystic Warrior Academy, and what we're doing is we're helping veterans heal from the inside out, overcome any sort of emotional trauma that they've been through. So if you're a veteran, a therapist, or a coach, and are interested in learning more about our program, you can contact us directly at info@mysticwarrioracademy.com. Blessings.
Hey, this is Joe Monkman, and I am a personal development trainer. And that means that I help people step into their leadership roles, take their place as a visionary, really understand their own mastery in the world so that they can really find their place at the buffet of life. And if you want to know more, you can find me on my Facebook page at Joe Monkman and joemonkman@gmail.com.
Hi guys, I'm Kendrick Cortez Greer, personal astrologer and astrological counselor here in Brooklyn, New York. I've been an astrologer for over 23 years now, providing astrological readings, counseling sessions, workshops, and corporate events all throughout the tri-state area. I've been very blessed and lucky to have clients all throughout the United States and beyond. If you're interested in a reading that is warm, heartfelt, honest, and conducive to speaking to one of your best friends, please contact me at 917-863-7528. You can also email me at kendrickstar@gmail.com. That's Kendrick, STAR, @gmail.com. And for you Insta people, find me on Instagram at Kendrick Cortez Astrology. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Toodles.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who just tuned in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Nick Rafter, who is our real estate agent, our editor, writer, and journalist. So anything you need that's under that, feel free to reach out to him. So we are going to give, or I should say, Nick is going to give a tip in regards to how to adapt to changes, because that's just what life is all about. So Nick, what's the tip you have for us so we can adapt to changes?
I actually, one of the first things to do is not to react immediately to things in ways that you're not thinking through, because you might say or do something that would damage, your relationship with somebody or how you deal with it going forward. The first thing I would do is hold on to things that are constant. Something simple could be like a TV show that you watch. Go and sit and watch the next season of a TV show. A book that you're reading, or an author that you read. Something that isn't changing, I guess, and sort of like look at that. The first thing that I did was I reached out to friends who aren't moving. That I know aren't moving. And actually, interesting thing happened. One of my friends that I haven't talked to her in months, I reached out to her to see how she was doing. And tell her about what was going on in my life. And she told me that she was having a baby. And someone I'd never expected to have a baby. I know she's been in a relationship with her significant other for 10 years anyway. So, it's not surprising really. And that sort of cheered me up. And that was a change that I was welcome, because I said to her, I feel like now my family is growing. And she was like, yes, it is. And and so, holding on to things that are constant, that aren't changing, can at least help you deal with the things that are. And so that, I think that would be my biggest tip, because there are things that aren't changing around. You know, when you see a lot of change, there are going to be things that aren't. And if you could just hold on to those things while everything changes around you, it's like kind of like holding onto a life raft, I think.
Exactly. And something I want to add to that is a tip. When you are experiencing a change, allow yourself to surrender, whatever it is, because if there is a change that's coming in, that change is coming in for a reason, for whatever the reason may be. And that could very well be to start a new chapter of something that you've either put on hold or you were afraid to do because of whatever the circumstances might have been. So to surrender the resistance that you might have, because recognizing that whatever it is that is change, it's gotta happen. It's gonna happen for whatever the reasons are. And I always like to believe that anytime change comes in, something better is coming. And I don't like that expression so much, but it always seems to be the truth. It's like, this is so much better than I can imagine it to be.
Yeah, and that's something that I realized too, looking back at other times in my life, there were big changes.
Exactly, and that's what life is. We all experience change, no matter how small or big it might be, and it's just a part of life. So with that being said, I would like to give Nick a reading. So Nick, is there a specific question that you have in mind? You're not going to tell me the question. You're just going to hold that question in your mind. But is there a question that you would like to get some guidance on?
Yes.
Okay, so just hold that question in your mind. And just for our viewers, just say your full name that's on your birth certificate 3 times for me.
Dominic Francis Rafter. Dominic Francis Rafter. Dominic Francis Rafter.
Okay.
Like Beetlejuice.
So now, what's that?
Kind of like Beetlejuice.
There you go.
Pop out of the
And
wall.
it's so interesting. Now, I have no idea what Nick's question was, and I'm sure he'll share his question with us once I reveal the card to see if it's appropriate. Financial abundance.
Oh God. Okay.
Financial abundance. The chakra is third eye. So visualizing financial abundance, visualizing that there is no such thing as a lack of money. We all have birthrights to unlimited source of money. The numbers are 1 and 7. That 1 is a new way of looking at money and that new way of having a relationship with money. And that 7 is really evaluating how you want money to come in. Because again, as we've been saying from the very beginning, you are the creator to the show. You are the creator to your story, to this show. You are the creator. So does that resonate with you, Nick?
My question was, will I have the financial freedom to do the things that I want to do in the next year? So that's a little too on the nose, but okay.
That's a little too what?
On the nose.
Exactly. And you saw me shuffling the cards. So it's not like I just randomly went into the deck and pulled out the card that was most appropriate.
Well, should I tell the quick story about when we did this in your office?
Sure, of course.
So
we have time.
We did this in my office when Kyle announced he was moving. I went over to Joanne to have a Reiki healing, which is what she does. And she's awesome at it, so you should
Thank
have
you.
it with you. And she said, let's pick 2 cards out of her deck. And so, I shuffled them myself. I laid them out. And I asked 2 questions. The first is this move right for Kyle? And the second was that, so I picked out the faith card. And I thought, and then we talked about that and having faith and so on. And then the second question was, what does this mean for me and him as a couple? And I picked out the domestic harmony card, which, hello. And I said to Joanne, if you had done this like over Zoom or something, I would have thought you rigged it and picked out those cards purposely, because that's how on the nose they are. So, it was funny how like this happened here. Now, I saw you shuffle the cards, but the same thing is her cards lately have been really sort of on the nose, both in a good and negative way. It given me answers I didn't really want to hear, but answers that I had to hear. So that's just interesting that happened too. And I feel that my intuition tells me that I will have financial freedom in the coming months. So it sort of affirmed that.
Exactly.
And as I said, our business is doing great. So with that comes financial abundance.
Exactly. And all Nick needs to do is continue to use his third eye to continue to visualize that financial abundance coming in. And it's already there. It's already there. All he has to do is keep visualizing it, create the checks that he wants to receive. Now, I have a fun thing that I do, and I share this with all of my clients, is literally during new moon, is I literally will literally take paper and write out a check, put my name on it, put the bottom from the universal law of financial abundance, write the dollar amount that you want to receive, and put on the back of the check what it is you want to do with the money you're receiving. And with the new moon's energy, it's like magic. It's like magic. And start visualizing the exact thing you put on the back of the check, what it is you want to do with that money. Because again, when we think about financial abundance, when we think about money in general, money is meant, the energy of it is meant to flow. So if you're looking to receive $10,000 to put in your bank account, it's not the way to allow the money to flow. You have to be willing to do something with that money. And that's how it flows. So Nick, I'm glad this resonated, and I'm glad it went along with your question. So Nick, one last time, just let our viewers know how they can reach you.
You can reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com, or go to my blog, Nick Rafter Writes, one more word, at nickrafterwrites.com, and then all my info's there.
Awesome, awesome. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, from last week, unfortunately, there was no raffle winner for this week because no one shared, liked, or commented. So in order to take advantage of this week's raffle giveaway, you do need to share, like, and comment. All three in order to take advantage of being a winner. Now for this week, because during the commercial break, Nick and I decided that I would be the one giving the raffle giveaway. And that giveaway is going to be a 15-minute Reiki treatment with me. And that Reiki treatment can be done on site or via Zoom. So remember, in order to be in it, you have to share, like, and comment. And then of course, I will announce the winner on our show next week. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then I'll come back with the conclusion of today's show. But again, thank you, Nick, so much for sharing your summer of changes with all of us. And I look forward to seeing how everything unfolds for you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
There is no one-size-fits-all diet plan, so why would your fitness routine be any different? At A Healthful Life, we believe that fitness and conditioning should be tailored to you, and that's why we're offering a free consultation to anyone who reaches out to us right now. Mention this ad and you'll receive 20% off of your 90-day personalized fitness program. Visit ahealthfullife.org now to begin your journey to a more healthful you. ahealthfullife.org.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Are you curious to know what's in store for you in the cosmic world? Hello, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, and cosmic energy reader. And I've created a 6-month, 3-card cosmic forecast with you in mind. Each card features your sun, moon, and rising sign. To learn more, email healingwithin76@gmail.com. I do look forward to sharing insight, inspiration, and intuition with you. Each monthly forecast can be redeemed via email, video, or Zoom. Email healingwithin76@gmail.com. Mention this ad and receive a special rate. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Nick Rafter, who is our real estate agent, journalist, writer, and editor. And he shared today about summer of changes. And if you are just tuning in, please go back and watch, listen, wherever, however you're viewing the show, because he did share some amazing stuff that's taking place in his life, and perhaps it may resonate with you as well. So what I like to do is I want to just go ahead and announce some of the promos that's going on, because there's a lot of people out there doing some amazing stuff. Something I've been doing new. If you are someone out there doing some great stuff and you have a flyer and you want to share that flyer on the show, hit me up with an email at healingwithin76@gmail.com to start off with. Let's start off with a live Health Solutions by Gabriella. Are you frustrated with answers or rather not getting the answers you're looking to hear? Connect with Gabriella for that. Then we have Spirit Messages. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Joe Monkman offers Spirit Messages by connecting to Spirit. He also provides one-on-one readings. How do I know this? Because I'm a part of his group every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. On the flyer, there's information on how to reach him, how to be a part of it. I highly recommend you join us. Then, The Author's Porch by CJ Ives Lopez. Not only does she have a podcast that she's the host of, but she's also the publisher of the Author's Porch magazine. A great magazine you definitely want to pick up. Her magazine's available virtually. I think that's how they say that. And also you can purchase it. I think it's available on Amazon. So if you want to write an article, if you want to put an ad in, whatever it is you want to do, go ahead and check out, connect with CJ Ives Lopez for that. And the last flyer, Chakra Balance Reiki Circle, being held right here at Holistic Fitness in Queens on September 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's about a 2-hour event. Should you like to join us for this amazing event where you get to practice, you get to receive, you do it all there. You do need to reserve a seat. To do that, reserve your seat before September 15th. The investment's only $22. Thereafter, it's $33. But go ahead and email healingwithin76@gmail.com, or you can call 646-236-9155. In fact, the number is on the flyer. Feel free to call me or send me a text to let me know you want to reserve your spot. So with all that being said, as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow, September 6, 2021, is the new moon. I would love to know if you have a ritual or two that you follow during new moons. As I do, I have this new ritual, which is all about putting together a crystal grid, which I'm looking forward to doing probably tonight to set it up. And then tomorrow I'll be diving into everything that I do with my rituals. But new moons are just for that. It's setting the intentions for what you like to see happen over the next 28 days. So I would love to know if you have rituals. Put that in the comments. And remember, in order to take advantage of the raffle giveaway, you do need to share, like, and comment on today's show. I want to give a big shout out. I think there's 1 or 2 people watching right now as we speak. Choni Marvelous, I think is the name. And a big shout out. Hopefully you share, like, and comment, because you might actually be our winner, unless there's more people tuning in. So all that being said, I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you next Sunday. But for those of you who would like to know what's going on next week, well, next week I have the amazing Gabriella coming on. She is going to be chatting up about the COVID-19 and proteins. So come and join us next Sunday and meet Gabriella. She's been on my show a handful of times. I love connecting with her. I love her energy. I love her wisdom. And I'm sure you will too. She'll be here next Sunday, so come tune in, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Till then, enjoy the month of September. Embrace the changes that are coming in. Remember, this is a time to declutter, let go, put a period at the end of your sentence, complete a project, and transform to be the best version of who you are. With all that being said, have yourself an awesome rest of the day. Bye-bye for now. Till next week.